Hey, welcome back. I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm just doing the intro. Maybe I could fill it with movie quotes. Ouch. That was stupid. Today, I am going to paint Lord Grantham. I really like this character. I like his complexity. I like his character arches. I like the folds in his face, so I'll talk about that as I am painting. I did do a practice sketch of this one before. Sometimes faces are hard to understand, especially when either they're older or they have different fatty or muscle structure that's different from mine, because then it means I'm not as intimately familiar with that face. So I did a practice sketch of him, of Robert, and I think I understand it well enough to jump into a painting. So we will see. So starting this drawing of Robert with a dark background, the drawing portion was interesting because it's kind of a blend of traditionally masculine bone structure. He has a very forward tilting forehead plane in his skull, but also he has rounded edges. You know, he has softer fatty deposits around his jawline, even in his neck, and that kind of throws off what my brain expects to draw. So it's a fun challenge to make sure I'm drawing just what I see, the way that I see it. In this picture, I tended to block in my darker values with the pencil a little bit more. It helps me double check my placement a little bit more clearly when I'm dealing with a face that feels a little more foreign to me. I'm sticking with the same painting order. I like to start with my darks. They kind of give me a good key to begin with, and then I work into my middles. This is a very natural kind of foresty shot with that natural foresty color scheme, so it's all pretty well warm. One thing I like to make sure I do, regardless of if I'm painting digitally or traditionally, is I kind of like to make sure, I didn't do it super well in this one, but I like to make sure that I have paint over my whole canvas area before I get too into details. At this point, even knocking down those lighter areas was driving me crazy, and I couldn't figure out why until I realized, I haven't put paint in his hair where it needs to go, and it's throwing off my perception of him. There's that softening tool. Yep, there's the hair. It makes a huge difference on how I perceive where things are. It's that concept of just developing your whole painting kind of all together at once. I'm just keeping the brush moving. At this point, it makes a little more sense to start breaking it down into those smaller, more delicate, subtle changes in value. I do like to paint noses. Robert's character has such an interesting meaning, I think, to me. On the one hand, he's very afraid of and opposed to the changes happening around him, and I get that. When you're comfortable in your space, it's hard to acknowledge that discomfort is happening elsewhere, and it's hard to kind of accept change when you don't see a reason for it to happen. But at the same time, you get such a loving dad vibe from him. He sees so clearly that his loved ones thrive under these new changes, and that kind of softens his heart towards the idea of changes. The war, entrepreneurship, Mary running a business, and on and on and on. And so that's kind of a cool, I think, when we watch Robert, there's something that we kind of acknowledge in our own dads, is really what our
dads would acknowledge with their dads, is that the changing of the times can be tricky, but it's made a lot easier when we're surrounded with our loved ones. And I think it's cool to see in this character. I think Robert is a really nice blend of kind of uptight, but then also like he rolls his eyes at his mom, you know? And I think that's so relatable. His jawline was a trip though. That was gnarly for me to deal with because it wasn't the planes that I was expecting to see. So I really had to make sure that my brain was turning off my autocorrect and I was just going with what my eyes were seeing. I kind of liked this darker kind of hunter green in the background as well. I think it feels very stately. I mean, I know I was just working from a photo, and in the photo there's greenery in the background, so like it was kind of a duh moment, but at the same time I think it actually fit his personality well. I think the photographer really was onto something. It's kind of, I feel like I was more thinking of the background color and temperature as part of the painting and not just an afterthought. I think it looks pretty good. Look at you, Robert.
Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking around. I really enjoyed this one. It was a good challenge, but not like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, I like challenges in painting. In real life, less so in real life. Painting is a little more safe. Fewer consequences, generally. Anyways, press the like button if you liked it. Subscribe, share it around. I know that a new season is coming and I'm like dead excited. It's gonna be great. Maybe I'll do like, if it's gonna be in like the 30s, it would be cool to do one of these characters all like dolled up. Maybe like Edith will be all 30s dolled up. That'd be kind of cool. I think I'll do Edith. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you next time.